Hi. Today we have a wonderful sling bag that could be converted into a hip bag that is from Lynn's Handmade, and Lindsay has graciously permitted me to do her patterns as tutorials on YouTube. So today we are doing the Rayna Sling. It's her fairly newest pattern. And now when you print out the pattern at 100% or the actual size, the measurements, the finished measurements of the bag are 7.5 inches wide by 5.5 inches tall by 2 inches deep. I have printed the pattern out at 115% to make it bigger, because for me, my phone is a Samsung S23 Ultra and it's a bigger phone, and I don't know that it would have fit in this size of a bag, or it just would have fit. But I did want a bag that was bigger in size than the original one, and I will probably do the original size also, because you see a lot of people wearing crossbodies or hipsters that are just small bags. They're not super huge, but here it is. This is the Rayna Sling that I made, that we're making today at 115%. I did not do the strap as she has it in the pattern. It just didn't work out with this vinyl, and it's because I also did a 1-inch strap, and I made the strap myself, and her strap was for 1.5-inch strap webbing is with the strap connectors. But this is a gorgeous bag. The fabric that I have used is vinyl from Sam Fabric Creations in Quebec, and the strap is a green floral vinyl from Sam Fabric Creations, which goes beautifully with the colors in this bag. So on the front, now this bag here, it measures 9 inches wide approximately by 6-7 inches tall by 3 inches deep when it's finished. And the hardware is also from Sam Fabric Creations. So on the front, I've used this beautiful coral color zippered by the yard from Temu. And I have my bag tag. And when you open it up, you have a beautiful zipper lining, and this bluebird fabric I've had for a long time. I got from Country Cow Designs in the UK. So that's on the front. You have this great size zipper pocket on the front that will fit a phone. On the back, now I have done some hacks. So the first hack was I made this at 115%. The second hack is I make, in all the bags I make, I add a slip pocket on the back, because I just like being able to throw my phone in or grab my phone really, really fast. So I'm a grab and go type of person. But this additional tab on the top, my friend Lori, we were school secretaries together, and she was looking at one of the bags I had made, and she said, why not try an exterior magnetic snap tab instead of putting the magnetic snap on the inside. So that just adds a little bit more of a feature. It also secures, because the slip pocket that I create only goes up a certain way. I could probably make it higher, but it's lots of room for my Samsung Ultra, S23 Ultra, and it just secures it into the back. And then on the interior, now nothing ever goes perfect. So when I printed out, I only had a certain amount of that bluebird cotton canvas from Country Cow Designs. I only had a certain amount of it left, and I wanted to use it for this bag as the lining inside. And I thought I had cut out all the pieces, and I didn't. The strap didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but that's okay. I worked with it. And so the interior has that beautiful bluebird lining, and on this side, the exterior front panel, you have a really great slip pocket and another small little pocket here that you could put a lipstick or a lip balm in it. But when I did this, I forgot to cut out the bottom gusset. So the bottom of the gusset, and I didn't have enough of this bluebird fabric left, but I still had Country Cow because I got them both at the same time. I still have it has oranges on it, and it does have bluebirds. It's just a different style, but you know what? We roll with it and just carry on. So join me today in sewing the Rayna Sling at 115% printed. And look at these, check out these amazing D-ring connectors. I didn't have D-rings that matched the gold because I wanted to match and coordinate with the hardware in the zipper, like the gold in the zipper. But I did have the rectangle rings, and that's okay because the angle of these wings for the connectors, the way it sits, it'll pull it up into that corner and it'll work out. So let's just quickly show you what it's like on as a crossbody. So there it is as a crossbody, and of course there's lots of room for it to go longer if you want. That's really very summery, so nice. And if you want to turn it into a hip bag, then you can. You just adjust the strap and make it a hip bag. So this is what we are sewing up today. Please join me. I sit in my chair. So please join me in sewing up the Rayna Sling at 115% and with all of my hacks. We will see you in a sec. Thanks. Oh, before I forget, I'm Teresa from Tree60 Handmade Bags, so thank you so much for joining. I always forget to introduce myself. So I'm Teresa from Tree60 Handmade Bags. If you are already a subscriber, thanks so much for coming back. And if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining in and checking it out and sewing along with me. And I hope you enjoy it and that you enjoy making the Rayna Sling from Lynn's Handmade. We'll see you in a second. All right, and we're back. So today we are sewing up the Rayna Sling from Lynn's Handmade, and Lindsay has graciously given me permission to do all of her patterns as tutorials on YouTube. And this is the Rayna Sling that can be worn either as a crossbody or as a hipster bag. It's a combination of her Ray dual zip and her Dana pack, which hence the name Rayna, combining the two. So I have printed my pattern pieces out at 115% because I wanted to make a bigger bag that would accommodate my Samsung S23 Ultra phone. And these are the materials that we are going to be using today. This is the exterior of the bag. Isn't that gorgeous? This is from Sam Fabric Creations in Quebec. So this is the exterior of the bag, and this is the interior. I've had this cotton canvas for a couple of years now, and I got it from Country Cow Designs in the UK. And isn't that gorgeous? It's this beautiful bluebird, and it's a cotton canvas. It's not waterproof or anything. Maybe it's water resistance, but I have not interfaced the interior, and I have not interfaced the exterior because this is a heavy enough vinyl that it doesn't require it. So this is I've got 3 interiors pieces. I have a back and a front. Now the front is going to be cut at a certain point from the pattern, and then the zipper is going to go across the front. But what I do now, this bag I'm making with some hacks. So the first hack is I printed it at 115%, the pattern. The second hack is I always create a back slip pocket, and it's more for my convenience. So I have something to quickly pop my phone into so that I don't have to unzip the bag, stick the phone in. I want something that's quick and easy for me to grab. So I always make a slip pocket on the back. This slip pocket, you could have a magnetic snap so that it snaps on the interior. I'm going to do another little hack. Actually, it was a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, Lori. We had coffee yesterday morning, and she gave me a suggestion on why not just add a tab from the top and do the magnetic snap this way so it doesn't take up any room on the inside. So we're going to do that on the exterior slip pocket. This is the zipper that I'm using. It's a gorgeous coral color, which will look really fabulous with this vinyl from Sam Fabric Creation. This zipper I got from Temu, I think. It's a number 5 zipper, but their zipper teeth are different. It's not, I can't use my regular zipper pulls, number 5 zipper pulls that I usually use, but this did come with about 15 zipper pulls, and it's a different way the teeth are, but this is the zipper pull that I will be using, and I will be using this gold color hardware to match the zipper. So that's the front and the back. And then the strap I'm going to make so that it does pick up the gorgeous, there's a lot of green in here. I'm not a real super fan of green personally, but this really, really suits it well because it does pick up the green. So, and of course it's floral. So this vinyl, floral green vinyl, is from Sam Fabric Creations as well. I don't know if she has it anymore, but that'll go really, really well with the wings to attach your strap connectors to, and also these tabs will be made to go on the ends of each of the strap. So that'll really add some gorgeous detail to this green strap. Alrighty, so the thread I'm using today is, it's Gutermann, and it's a beautiful coral color, and it's their outdoor upholstery. Now, I checked the tex weight. I believe it's probably maybe 40 to 50 tex weight. Don't quote me, but I mean, this is going to look great with the with this fabric. So I'm just going to get started, and we'll probably work on the strap first. So just give me a sec. Okay, so first we're going to work on the D-ring connector tabs. And what she has in the pattern are, you just cut out your square, rectangle pieces of your front and back exterior fabric. Then you're going to glue them. I've chosen to do double-sided tape, and I went and did double-sided tape a little too much. I did both sides of the front and back, and I only needed to do one side. So what you do is you take the double-sided tape off, and then you line the two up together. Then you're going to put your template onto this rectangle, trace around it, and cut it out, and then I'll do that for both pieces, and then I'll meet you back here. Now the third set I just cut roughly. This is what I'm going to, I'm probably going to use the same template to make that back magnetic snap connector for the back slip pocket that I add as a hack. Now, one of the things also that I now have a microphone, and I hope you can hear me well. I know I'm leaning forward so you can see what I'm doing, but I now have a new camera set up. I have my, I've got a tablet that I can actually see the screen. My Samsung S23 that I was using to record, I was getting some ghost shadowing at the bottom of the screen, and it was causing some distortion in that because there was something in behind the screen, or in behind the front camera on my, underneath the screen on my phone. I had broken the screen when it was only a couple of months old and had to get a new one. So obviously something got caught or got under the front camera when the new screen was put on. If you hear some growling and commotion in the background, that's Murphy. Murphy's probably going to come and say hello, and Frankie's probably going to come and say hello as well. So I'm going to work on getting these together, and then I'll meet you back for the next step. Okay, and I'm back, and Frankie is now here joining us. That's her spot to look out the window. If you do hear some noise in the background, we do have a golf course. We have some bush behind us, but we also have a golf course. So you probably hear the golfers yelling and going crazy. So I have taken the template and I put it on the scrap, on the rectangles that I had taped together, traced it around, and made the marks for where the rivets are going to go. And then I cut around that, and then also there's the marks. You can see I use my gel pen on that to mark them. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew around the edge with an eighth of an inch seam allowance. And then I'll show you what I do when I punch my holes. So we're going to do that together. When you're doing this, make sure that you keep your thread tails long, because we're going to tie them to the back, and I'll show that as well. And I'm sewing it on the right side of the fabric so that the nicer stitching is on the top. And I go very slow. Just go very slow. If you have to use your hand crank or your hand wheel, then do that. So I do that, I lift, maybe take a stitch. A lot of hand cranking around the curves, because you definitely don't want to over sew. And I can just hit this pedal, my pedal a little bit, and I can really, and this machine will really take off. So now, once I get to the point where I've sewn a bit away from where the stitches are, I take my seam ripper, anything that's pointy, I have a stiletto here as well, and I take the back thread. It may be hard to see, I can't zoom in unfortunately, and then I just give it a bit of a tug, and then you wind up with a loop from the top thread showing, and then you just pop your seam ripper or stiletto into that loop, pull the top thread to the back, and then you're left with a clean edge. This stops you from seeing any back stitching on your nice finished products. And the first set of stitches I take, and I just do a quick little knot, if my nails don't get in the way, and I just do a quick little knot just to tie them together, so I know that these are the threads I've already pulled. And then I just continue stitching. And I just hand crank around that curve. It's a very cool morning here. It was 10 or 11 degrees Celsius this morning when I got up, which is a fabulous relief from what it was like last week. It was 35, 37 Celsius in the shade, and it was hot, and we have a high humidity here. So, and of course, we're all in the shade. Oops, a daisy that popped out. I didn't want that to happen. So I'll catch that back in. All right. Catch my stitching again. And then, oh, it's popping up on me too much. That can be fixed. I'll just pull it out with my seam ripper, just pull out those stitches and start again, but I'll have 2 sets of stitches to tie. So even if you make a mistake with this, all is not lost, I have found, and making mistakes is how we learn. And I'll just pick the stitching out till I go back a little bit so that I can tie it off. And then I'll show you what I do when I tie off the ends, because this will be tied off. Okay, so I've picked my stitching out to this point, and then there's my bobbin stitching. So when you have the back thread, I'm going to pull it, and it has created this. Now I appreciate the bag makers who already know this, but there may be people like myself from 2.5 years ago. I didn't know this technique, and there may be people that, or maybe viewers that may want to learn. So you've got your little loop here, and then you just grab it with something pointy and pull it up, and you have both your thread tails together, and then you just tie a knot in those. And this will be the underside. You're never going to see this. Of course, I can't grab that thread tail because sometimes my eyes just don't want to work. Okay, and I'm just going to snip that section of the thread tails. Actually, I could have kept it there. And then I'm going to start the stitching again until I get to the point where we first started and I didn't make a mistake. I'm going to have another set of thread tails. I should have left both of these long and done them all together. Oh well, I got ahead of myself. So I'm just going to put the needle down in the last stitch that I had done so that when it comes back up again, it'll start a new stitch. And I'm just hand cranking around that curve because I don't want any overstitching. And I'm just going to end in the first stitch that I started way back when before the mistake. All right, so I'm going to pull my tails. Garbage can is there at my feet. Okay, so this is where I started the second stitching. I'm just going to pull the back tail of thread. There's a little loop here, and I'm just going to pull that up. Then I'll tie those off. And then on here, so these were the ones that I had originally started with. That's why I tie mine, the first two that I pull. That's why I put a little knot in it, so I know which ones I have pulled. And I'll just pull those off to the side, and then I'll take this other back one, give it a bit of a pull, and then grab the loop with my seam ripper, pull it up, and then I have two sets of tails, and what you see is on the other side you have nothing. So I'm just going to take these 4 sets of threads at the moment and tie them together. And what I do is when I tie my knots, I do a double knot inside each knot, just to be secure. And this thread is strong enough you can give it a good tug as well. All right, oops. And then I'll take these two. Let's just trim these guys off so they're not in my way. Scissors are locking. You'll never see this underside because it will be folded in half, and your D-ring will be caught in there, or your strap connectors will be all caught in there, so you'll never see the underside. Oh my goodness, I'm having trouble grabbing things today. Okay, then what I do is with these loose threads that we've tied off to the back, I just take my lighter, give it a quick singe, and with the polyester thread, because it melts, it singes it and it can create a seal. And I'll just do that on this side as well and seal that. All right, that's the underside. Hopefully you can see it. There's my light. So that's the underside, and that is the right side. So I have on the underside, I've marked my marks for where I'm going to punch my holes for when we eventually do the rivets. Now, I just wanted to show you this. I started off with the single hole punch that came with my rivet set with the little portable anvil and that, and I just couldn't bang the holes in. So then I purchased this off of Amazon, and it's a hole punch with multi-size holes. It's very I find it difficult to turn. My hand, I don't have the hand strength. I've had carpal tunnel done in both wrists, and I don't have the hand strength now to crimp that. What I have discovered on some other bag makers is that they use what's called a Japanese hole press or hole punch. This is the smallest hole and it comes with many different size bits. There's a super expensive one. It's about $80 Canadian. I think this one was only $50 on Amazon. This is the best deal, the best thing to use that I find, because sometimes you can't get this bottom part of the anvil into a tight space on the bag. So I find sometimes it's difficult to get into tight spaces with this, whereas this little one hole at a time, it's really easy to get into tight spaces. And what it does is you just push it down, goes down and pops back up. So all I'm going to do is line it up with these marks, give it a little press. And it's really easy. There's no effort at all. This is the best gizmo. And there, my holes have been punched. I have 4 beautiful holes for my rivets, and I have already done the other one. Now I have already taped this together. This is going to be the back strap with my magnetic snap connector. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm just keeping this all aside, and I will keep all of these pieces clipped together for now, and then we'll see what the next step is. Okay, so now we're going to work on our strap. I am going to do a 1-inch wide strap, and I will adjust the strap connectors at that point in time. However, so if you're doing a 1-inch strap, then what you do is you cut 4-inch wide by however long your length is. So this is basically the length of the vinyl that I'm using, which is 54 inches. And this is going to be an adjustable strap, and which should, for me, fit around as a crossbody and around as a hip bag. And in the pattern and in her own video, which I have in the background on my computer to follow along for the different steps, she explains also at the beginning how to measure for the ideal strap for your size. She's a lot tinier than I am. So anyhow, this is a 4-inch wide strap. It's going to be folded in half to 2 inches and then folded in half again to create a 1-inch strap. So I have already marked down the center line. I'm going to take the double-sided tape off of each side, fold each side up into the center line like this, and then I'll fold it over again, and then I'll meet you back here when I'm going to stitch it. I also forgot to mention that if you're going to be making your own 1.5-inch wide strap, then you would cut a 6-inch wide strip to whatever length of the fabric that you're going to use. So to make a 1-inch wide strap, cut 4 inches. To make a 1.5-inch wide, you cut 6 inches. All right, I will see you on the other side. All right, so now I have my strap all folded into the center and in again so that it creates a 1-inch wide strap. And we're going to sew a 1/8 of an inch down one side and 1/8 of an inch down the other side. Now, I also forgot to mention that before I clip, or as I clip, sometimes your material will shift. This is fairly slippery, and sometimes even though you may have your edges clipped nice and even as you're stitching, they could shift. So what I also do is, you can see it here, just down one side, kind of just off maybe 1/4 inch from the edge, so it's out of the stitch line. I run a strip of 1/4 inch double-sided tape all the way down the inside as well, so that when you fold it and clip it, it will stay put. Another thing I also want to mention about clips, I know I mentioned this in my the tools that I use for bag making and sewing, some tools I never knew existed. I use two different types of clips. So this is one clip. These are really fancy. They're a really nice rainbow painted clip. These are hair clips. You can get them anywhere, probably at Walmart or your pharmacy or the dollar stores or wherever. But these don't leave marks, and they're quite firm. They do clip on and they do hold the fabric really, really well. The other type are these type of clips. They're called Wonder clips, and they are quite firm and they do hold very well. One drawback, or one of the drawbacks, is they're plastic. And as you have them in really thick seams, you know, to hold, they do hold and clip, but because they're plastic, they get worn out very easily, they break, and they could go flying off in your face, because believe me, that's happened. The other thing, like I said, I think they are called Wonder clips. Now, these are not the brand name Wonder clips. These are like a knockoff from Amazon. I think I got 150 in a container, I don't know, for $5-10. Anyhow, they do have teeth. It's hard to see, but here they do have some bumps that are teeth. These ones not as much, and on both sides. And what can happen is, if you have them in your vinyl or faux leathers for any length of time, they will leave a mark. In some instances, the marks won't go away. I've glued some faux leathers and vinyls together and, without knowing, clipped them on, and the marks kind of dug in and solidified into the vinyl because they were glued on the underside. So just be careful with that. I also just make sure that all my clips, it's not being anal, it's just I make sure that the flat side of each of the clips always runs along the edge that I'm sewing along, so that the round part of the clip doesn't get caught, because there is a bit of a curve. It doesn't get caught on an edge as easy. The flat side doesn't get caught on the edge as easy as the curved side. The flat edge will also keep your fabric flatter on the bed of your sewing machine, and makes it easier to stitch. So we're just going to do this together. I'm going to sew down an 1/8 of an inch down one side and an 1/8 of an inch down the other. And I have to throw this over my shoulder because it's so long. All right. You don't have to worry. You can do back stitching on these to secure the edges. And I'm using a stitch length of 3.5. I'm kind of using that throughout the entire bag, only because of the fact on my jack, it's a little more difficult than just turning the dial to either increase or decrease your stitch. I have to lower this, press that, turn that. It just gets to be too much. So I just kind of keep my stitch length always pretty much the same. And I go slow. I'm not a fast sewer. This sewing machine can go at warp speed. I can't keep up with it that fast. I just want to make sure it's catching on the underneath. This coral color thread is going to looks really good with this green. Kind of just gives it a little pop of color. Now, in order to make sure that you don't have any pulling when you're sewing your straps because they are so long, I go down the one side, starting at the far end, the end that we started, and do my 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then I finish it. Then I will go back, start back at the top, this end again, and go down that side. And that stops any twisting or warping or pulling. More so the twisting. When I first started making bags, I didn't know that. And I didn't realize that's what was causing the twisting in my, on my bags. The straps. So then I'm just going to go down, start the other side. It's a big strap. It's long. I can go a little faster on this one because now I'm not pulling out the clips. I just love how quiet this jack is. I use a Jack Industrial 6380, and it has a walking foot. I got this on Facebook Marketplace, and I got a really, really super good deal. It was brand new. The person had purchased it during COVID brand new, and she didn't use it that much. The only thing I have a problem with is the fact that the table was set up, the height of the table was set up according to her, and I think she came just above my shoulders. So I really would love to have this table adjusted, the height adjusted, more to accommodate my 5'7" height and my legs, because I take a 33-inch inseam, so my legs are fairly long. And I can rack. If you hear me yell, I apologize. It's only because I banged my knee on my knee lift. All right, so there you have it. I have stitched down both sides. Stitching is gorgeous. And I will come back with the next step. Okay, so I've had to make a little change to how I'm going to do the strap connectors. We were going to do the ones that were part of the pattern, these really cool little strap connectors, but I think in this case, they're more for using webbing, and I've created my own 1-inch strap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own little strap tabs to give it a little bit of a feature. And I'm just going to sew around them and just to secure them. And then I'm going to trim them on both ends. And then I'm going to make the strap like I'm used to making, with the two swivel clips on either end and the strap adjuster in the center. And I'm not sure whether I think I'm going to have to use this strap slider because it has more space for the thickness of the vinyl than this slider here, because the thickness of the vinyl I find is too thick that it's really difficult to adjust the strap. Unfortunately, this is in antique brass or antique gold. This is in gold. I don't think anybody's going to notice. So I'm just going to sew these tabs on just to finish these ends, and then I'm going to show you how to make the strap. I'll be right back. All right, so this was not the plan of how I was going to do my strap and the strap connectors, because I wanted to do them how she had them in the pattern. But what I did was I made my own strap connectors to finish off the ends of the strap. I stitched around them to secure them onto the strap, and then I'm just going to run the lighter over the raw edges on the edges, just in case there's any little fuzzies and they don't fray. Okay, so the first step is, and what I also did was I tied the long threads to the back. So that's my underside. This will be the wrong side of the strap, where the knots have been singed. Okay, so this is the right side up. I'm going to take my tri-glide and I'm going to feed it in from the bottom. Get it in there, and then I'm going to feed it in through the other. So if you didn't see that, it goes, there's the underside, it's curved, and that's the right side up. I'm going to feed it in from the bottom, underneath, go around the middle bar and down. And then I'm just going to stitch this into place. I kind of just fold it Actually, I'm going to rivet this into place. All right, give me a sec so I can get my rivets. See how things can change really, really fast, just depending on how it works out or not. So give me a second. Okay, so I'm just going to clip the strap together where I want it to be, and I'm going to put 2 rivets in here on this strap connector, and I kind of just eyeball them myself. I don't really have any method there. You can get templates where you can line up your rivet holes, but I'm just going to eyeball it just like that. Then I'm going to take that little Japanese press, and I forgot to mention, I just have one of these little tiny craft mats I think I got from Dollar Tree, just to make sure that I don't get holes, because if you can see all the times I've used it, and it does cut quite well into this mat. So I'm just going to lay this flat. I'm just going to pop the rivet holes in through the fabric, and I may have to go in a couple of times to make sure that I get all the way down. Oh, and it just popped my bit out. And it hasn't gone all the way through. Let me clip that back together. I'll be back. All right, I fixed it. I may have to switch to my handheld one, but we will see. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to punch through the first layer, which I have gone through. Then I'm going to line this back up. I've already punched through all the layers of this one. And I just want to make sure that that's lining up with the rivet. Like I said, sometimes things just don't work out as much as you plan for them to work out. Okay, and then I'm just going to go through the hole that we just made and go right through and mark to the other side. Hopefully that's worked. Yes, okay. So I've just marked this side of the green. Can't see it now on here. And I'm just going to go through and make a new hole with that all the way to the other side. Okay, so what I'm going to now do is line up these holes. I've got my double cap rivets. I'm using antique brass because it's what I had handy. I might have gold somewhere, I don't know. And I'm going to push that on. I hope these aren't too thick. And I'm going to pop, as long as I can hear the snap of the other cap going on. And then I'm going to take my rivet press and I'm going to put this in and line it up underneath the anvil here and underneath where I press it. Give it a really, really good press because there's a lot of layers there. And it did go through and it did get pressed, and I'm going to line up, put this other one in and go through the hole I already made. To this side, take the cap, pop it on. All right, and then I'm going to press it again. Okay, that's secure, and there you have it. I have the 2 rivets in. So now the next step is going to be taking the other end, making sure that it's the right side up. You're going to take one of your swivel clasps. These ones actually are from Sam Fabric Creation in Quebec. And you're going to make sure that it's right side up so that the flat side is down, and you're going to feed your strap end through the hole, feed it up. I've just flipped it so that this is your strap slider. You're now going to take this end. This is the underside here. You're going to slide it up through the top, slide it over. So now what you have, and this is all right side up, now you have a swivel clasp at this end, if I can hold on to it. You have it fed through your strap adjuster, your swivel, your, oh my goodness, your rivets are holding this end into place, which is on the underside. And then you're going to take the loose end and you're going to feed it through the swivel clasp, making sure that this is the right side and that the swivel part is up. And then you're going to fold it over, and then I'm going to punch the rivets. And I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. So I completed, like I said, some things happen. They don't work out the way you plan. So I made my strap the way I usually make a strap connector, with the slider, the adjustable slider, and the swivel clasp, and how I connect them on. You're still going to see this beautiful pop of color of the exterior vinyl to see, even though this will be on the underside of the strap. So we're just going to put the strap aside for now. We're going to start working on the interior. And now in the pattern, she has a mesh interior pocket. I don't have mesh, so I'm going to create my own slip pocket inside with this gorgeous cotton canvas from Country Cow Design that I got years ago. So I'm just going to fold this in half, and I'm just going to finger press it. So we're just going to create a slip pocket, and it's not going to be, you're not going to be able to see through it, but it might be big enough because I have increased the size of the pattern to 115%. I printed it out. There might be room to, there'll be room to put something here, and I'm going to create, I always carry a lip balm with me. I sell Norwex on the side, so I'm always using the Timeless lip balm from Norwex. Not that that's a plug. Anyhow, and I'm going to create a lip balm compartment here. So you measure in 2 inches from the edge, and use that as your marker. I just get my pencil. Can't see my gel pen. All right, 2 inches. Approximately, so I have an idea of where I'm going to be sewing up my sideline. Okay, so then you take one of your lining pieces, make sure you mark your centers, and you just fold it in half. Just make a quick little snip to mark your centers. So you just have your little notches, top and bottom. And I'm just going to do that. Just line up the edges on this pocket. Don't have to mark the centers. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be lining up. The edges aren't even, that's okay. It's going to be trimmed. I'm just going to fold this in half to mark the center on the bottom, because this folded edge is going to become the top edge of the slip pocket. So I'm just marking the center here with my little notch. Okay, so this is because I want it right side up. I'm just going to line up this notch on the bottom of the slip pocket onto the bottom of the interior lining, and I'm just going to clip. Oh, sorry. First, what I have to do is I have to stitch along the top of this lining in order to secure the top and have a nice top stitching feature as well. So we're just going to do that now before we clip it to the interior lining piece. And I'm just doing the top stitch at about at 1/8 of an inch inseam, or a seam allowance, sorry. I keep saying inseam. Goes back to my sewing clothing days. Okay, so there, I've done the top stitching along the top, and now I'm going to just clip this to the bottom and the sides of my interior lining. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch, just baste it in, about 1/8 of an inch in a seam allowance. And I'm just going to baste it all the way down to the bottom, sew it in and across. When I get to that mark, I'm going to start at this edge, and I'm going to stitch down and across. And then when I get to that 2-inch mark, then, which is where this clip is, then I'm going to go up, over 1 stitch and down, and then I'm going to continue sewing across here and up there. And we'll just do that together since it's going to be a pretty quick sew. Oop, do it this side. Okay, I'm at the 2-inch mark, and I'm just going to go up the one side, follow that quick little pencil mark guideline I made, just up to the top, and I kind of end where my top stitching is on that on the top edge that I just did. Turn it, pivot, make sure your needle's down, and then I just do 1 stitch over, and then I just come back down following that stitch line that I had previously made. And then I continue on across the bottom. To the other edge, and then up the side. If it doesn't quite catch on the other side, on the wrong side, that's okay. It's going to catch eventually with your main seam allowance. All right, so there we have our slip pocket. If you have a small iPhone, you might even be able to put it in there, and then your lip balm or lipstick will fit in there. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so one of the things also is I also include, when I make my products or my bags, I also include a Made in Canada label that I have made I purchase off of Etsy from a gentleman in the UK, and they come in packs of 48. I bought 2 packs, so I wound up with 96. Anyhow, they're great to put in. I just like to include my Made in Canada label on that. So what we're going to work on now, we're going to work on the side wings. So you should have, this is what's going to, your strap connectors are going to attach onto with your D-ring connectors or your rectangle rings. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the wrong sides together, and then we're going to clip all the way around the edge on the wrong sides, or with the right sides together, and we're just going to clip all along on the wrong side. I need more coffee. And we're going to do that for both. Right sides together and clip. And then we're going to sew all around this edge, the top, the side and the point, and around the curve, all the way to here. We're not sewing the straight edge, and we're going to sew it with the seam allowance in the pattern that she specifies. And then I'm going to take my pinking shears and I'm going to trim all around the seam allowance that's here, and then we're going to turn them right side out. And depending on how stiff your vinyl or faux leather is to turn them, you could use your hair blower to heat it up so that it makes turning easier and not as stiff. So I'll be back when I have them turned the right side out. Okay, so what I did was, your wings are like this and they are mirrored. And what I did was I top stitched I turned them right side out, top stitched 1/8 of an inch all around this edge, and then 1/4 of an inch in from that 1/8 of an inch. And we have these edges. Now we're going to take corner to corner and fold, and then I'm going to cut my little center marking into that vinyl. Oh, and we have the little end here from when the point met, so you can just cut that off if it's there and in the way. And I'm just going to fold it in half, and I'm going to cut my center markings. So now we have the two pieces mirrored, so you can decide which side you want facing the front and what side you want facing the back, whatever is prettier, but you have to make sure that they're both going this way, one on either side of your bag. All right, I'll be back with the next step. All right, and I'm back. Now, one thing I did forget to mention was that I have printed this pattern. Oh, Frankie's back. I have printed this pattern at 115%, but the only thing I did not print were the side wings. These are at 100%, and the strap connector pieces. They were all at 100%, but the rest of the pattern I printed at 115%. So now we're going to be working on the front panel. So we have the bottom part of the front panel. I have my exterior and I have my interior lining. And then the upper portion of it with the exterior and the lining. Just move that out of the way. And what will happen is then we have our zipper. Now there is a zipper length in the pattern, but I measured mine according to the new the new size at 115%. And I always cut a little excess because I always like to be safe. We're not going to be putting the zipper pull on at this moment in time, but I have marked all of my centers for the top and the bottom of these pieces and the top piece, as well as my zipper. So what we're going to be doing is double-sided tape is your friend, and it saves you a lot of time. So I'm going to take the double-sided tape backing off of the exterior piece, and I'm going to lay my zipper tape teeth down on top and match the centers right here, and match the centers and line up the top edge. Now this zipper tape is most likely going to be too wide or wider than it should be, and that will affect most likely the top to bottom size. Okay, and then I'm going to take the lining, get the zipper, the backing off. That's the hardest thing with double-sided tape. Trying to get the backing off is really hard. Actually, this, I'm going to stick it to, it sticks better actually to the zipper tape than onto the fabric itself. So I'm just going to run that over the top of the zipper tape. And I'm going to pull the backing off because I know it will come off easier on the zipper tape. Then I'm going to take the right side of the fabric of the lining, match my centers with the center on the zipper tape, put it face down so you've got the right side up, the right side of your outside exterior of the bag, and the right sides of your lining together, and then match at the center here. So that and the double-sided tape, of course, will hold it. You don't have to clip it. So what'll happen is when the zipper's facing out, you're going to have your lining showing here and your exterior here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch along the zipper teeth. I don't switch out to my zipper foot on my jack, only because of the fact that I don't like. It doesn't grab the fabric like I like. So I still use the edge of my 1/4 inch foot here. And I'm just going to stitch, get my needle up. I'm just going to stitch across. I just kind of line the edge of my presser foot along with right along the edge of the teeth. So I'm just going to sew that on. You're gonna have to watch your bum there, Frankie, because this just might hit you. All right. And then I'm going to finger press that forward just to give it a bit of a finger press. I don't have my iron on. And then I'm going to flip it over and finger press the exterior down as well. Now we got to make sure that your lining and your exterior match and are together, because we're going to top stitch across the top here. And I'm going to just make sure that these are all in alignment and that there's no puckering. Do it from this side as well. And make sure that when you pull your lining, your exterior and your lining meet together. Oops, there goes a clip. These usually go flying, and typically Frankie, because this is her room after all, you know, she does like to steal my clips, my bobbins. I moved some furniture the other day and found a couple of my bobbins I knew were missing underneath the furniture because she'll fish them out wherever she can. This is something else that she loves. These little silicone things, and my tape, she loves circles. So these little silicone things are what you just wrap around your thread spool just to hold your thread from unraveling. She loves them. I find them everywhere. All right, I'm just going to press that down. Give it another clip on this side. And then I'm going to top stitch across the top here at 1/8 inch seam allowance. My lock on my wheel I must be hitting it because it keeps unlocking, and then my table jiggles, my sewing table jiggles. All right, I'll just trim those. Okay, so there I have it top stitched here, and then on the lining side, there's nothing puckering, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the top part. Okay, so I'm going to take the part that we've just sewn, and I'm going to match the centers with the center of the zipper. And I'll put the right side down onto the right side of the zipper tape. And then I will flip it. So, and then, okay, let's see if I can get the backing off of the actual fabric here. Okay, I have to take that off and put it on the zipper tape. I know it works better on the zipper tape and it will stick better. For some reason, the fabrics, it just doesn't want to stick on the cotton. All right. Okay, and then I'm going to line up the centers of the bottom part. So you've got the bottom edge of your top portion, because when it flips up, it'll look like that. And I'm going to line up the bottom portion of my lining on the lining side of the zipper tape, so that your lining pieces will be right sides together. Line up the edge. And then I'm going to stitch along here against the zipper teeth, and then I'm going to top stitch it. Okay, so the same thing, you're going to fold up, you're going to finger press your lining forward and up. I have the top here and the bottom. Doesn't matter which way you do it, whatever works for you. And then I'm going to fold my exterior vinyl. I'm going to clip, making sure that the lining edge and the exterior edge meet along the top edge. And along the curves, and I pull to make sure that it gets pulled away from these zipper teeth to help pull that and straighten that out. Okay, I'm going to top stitch along here. At 1/8 of an inch inseam, or seam allowance, sorry. Keep saying inseam. Okay, now at this point in time, I take my utility scissors, take the clips out of these sides at the moment, just so they're not in the way of my scissors, because I have made the zipper teeth, I have made the zipper longer than the actual fabric. So I'm just going to trim that up using my utility scissors and not my good fabric scissors. I do have a little excess of the lining here as well, so I'm just going to trim that. And my utility scissors I have so that they go through the zipper teeth because that can ruin a good pair of fabric scissors. All right, and then I just take, just to kind of give a quick seal to the edge of the nylon zipper tape, just to give it a quick seal so that it doesn't fray. There you have your top and your bottom. Now I'm going to install the zipper pull. And all the bag makers have it feeding from this edge so that when you open so that when it's closed, the zipper is pulling this way, and when it opens, it's pulling this way. So what I do is, as you can see, when the zipper teeth are together, one tooth is sitting higher than the other tooth. When I pull that away and open up the zipper tape, I'm going to feed the zipper pull onto this side first, the one with the higher tooth, then the one with the lower tooth. So when it's facing me, that's the right side. So I'm just going to feed the right side on and then pull it a bit, kind of feed it in to the other side. And then you kind of just have to move this up a little bit just to kind of line them up. And you'll be able to hear it kind of click into place when they are lined up. And then when you close it, you don't have like a big bulging gap when you close your zipper. It takes a bit. Honestly, it takes a bit. A lot of times putting zippers on is the bane of our existence. And I'm not kidding. When I first started bag making, I was doing the key fob wallet from Sonar for my granddaughter, and I'm not kidding. It had a little tiny zipper at the back for coin pocket, and it was a number 3 zipper. I'm not kidding. It took me 3 hours to get this zipper tab pull onto the zipper. It's not fun when it doesn't work. Anyhow, it worked today, so that's a good thing. All right, and there's a lot of YouTube tutorials that you can check out as well. So at this point, I am going to put my bag tag on the bottom, and it has, okay, where is it? Oh my God. Okay, so I have, sorry for the noise. So my bag tag is a metal bag tag that I had made from Alibaba. And it has the tag with the washer, like with the prongs at the back, and a washer. So what I use to help make sure that this stays put, first of all, I figure where I want to put this on the bag. And I think I usually center it, but I think I'm going to put it kind of in this area here. And so it's and I do a lot of eyeballing. So I kind of go up maybe 2 inches and in 2 inches. And then I just make sure it's lined up with the zipper teeth, and I make my marks. Now there's 2, 4, 6, there's 10 slits for where the prongs will fit into these. I know the prongs will fit into the second last one on either side. So that's where I make my mark. You just see it in pen. You're not going to see it when the tag is on, but I make my marks in pen. And then what I do is I use duct tape. This is Gorilla Tape, same stuff. And I use my utility scissors, cut 2 pieces, because I use this. Other bag makers might put some Decaville Light or some heavy-duty interfacing on the underside to help your magnetic snaps and your tags be secured better, so that they don't pull and ruin the fabric. I just use duct tape. It's easy. And what I do is I see where my marks are. I'm just going to kind of fold over, and hopefully I've stick it on the underside, and hopefully I've caught it and it's kind of center, which it is. And this just helps to stabilize the material. It also just helps to secure the prongs in so that it doesn't cut. If there's, for some reason, it gets caught on something and it pulls, it doesn't cut it. Then I'm going to take my seam ripper, jack the seam ripper, and I'm going to just pop it into the end of one of those marks. And then I'm just going to very carefully just make a little tiny slit. Go very slow on this, especially if it's the first time doing it or you're new at it, or you've done it for many times like me, because I've poked it in and I've pushed because it's been a little stiff to push, and I've pushed all the way and I've overshot where the mark is supposed to be. So I'm going to then make sure that my tag is right side up with the front of the bag, and I'm going to pop those prongs into my holes. Make sure that they're opened enough, and pop them through the backing here. Then on this side, okay, then I pop the washer on. Make sure it's down all the way, so I didn't open my prongs enough. And then I just close the prongs to the inside, not super tight at the moment, because what I want to do is have a bit of wiggle room to make sure that this tag is sitting level and straight. And I can see that it's a little off. So once I kind of adjust it, then I just push down on the desk to kind of secure those prongs. And then I take the other piece of duct tape. Now, unfortunately, this is black, so you'll probably see it through the lining, but I don't think anybody's going to say too much about that. So there I have, you've got your front panel done. I have my bag tag on, and the zipper pull has been installed, and then I will see what the next step is. Okay, so now the step that we're going to be doing now is the slip pocket. That's my hack for the back panel of the bag. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to, well, mark my centers, because that helps. Actually, it doesn't matter on the slip pocket. The bottom of the slip pocket, the back exterior slip pocket, I will mark the centers on both the lining and the exterior. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the right sides together at the top, of the exterior and the slip pocket. And just quickly, I'm just going to clip them together. And then I am going to I'm going to sew, and then I'm going to top stitch. I'm going to sew at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Because this is where we're going to figure out the magnetic snap, if I decide to do that. The game will be after I'm done here to see if I've actually hit my garbage can afterwards. All right, so then I'm just going to finger press the lining forward. And I'm going to fold it over, line up the sides, and I'm just going to clip the top edge and make sure that the lining is folded so that I don't see it on the right side. Now, if you have a nice looking fabric and you want, not that this isn't nice looking, but if you want to have a little edge peeking out, you can kind of just fold it slightly higher so that you have that edge peeking out. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to make sure that the lining is down from the top edge. Okay, and then I'm just going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance just to secure the top there. Oh, and I lost I have to rethread. Just give me a sec. Okay, the video stopped. I had it on pause and it stopped, so I'm starting it back up again. So we're going to work on this, figure it out. What I did was, this is the strap, or the magnetic snap. So we made the slip pocket, the front and back, and I've just kind of lined it up with the bottom of the back of the bag so that we have a nice slip pocket here. It takes up too much room when you put a magnetic snap here to here, and then you only have this much depth. And then it gets in the way, it could get in the way of the screen of your phone if you decide to put your phone back here, and it could scratch it. So what I'm creating is a little tab to be sewn onto here, and it'll snap down here with a magnetic snap. So I've kind of created, I had to do this in pieces. So I had to, I just took some scrap pieces. There's no measurement or anything like that. I put the male, I don't know that it matters, but I put the male portion in the center of the of this fabric, of the two pieces together, the same way that I just did my bag tag. And I put the male portion in, and then I put the top, this will be the top of the strap, of that snap strap. I haven't done anything as far as finishing this yet, because I want to see exactly where this is going to line up for here to add the female portion of the magnetic snap. Now, for those who aren't as familiar with bag making, your magnetic snaps has a male side and a female side. And of course, the male and the female join together just like that. So I put the male on this will be the underside, so you don't even have to worry about that gel pen. In fact, that I use, that'll wipe away. And then the female portion, when I know exactly where it's going to go here, somewhere in the center, I'll have that lined up. It'll go in between the lining of the slip pocket and the exterior. So it's going to sit on the outer edge of the slip pocket, but I have to attach it from the inside. So what I'm going to do is, I have marked the centers on this rough piece of fabric that I have already attached the male portion. And this is how I do it. I just grab a marker, because you're not going to see it. I'm going to line up the center of this scrap with the center that I marked on the exterior. And I'm going to make sure that when I move that the magnetic snap, even though it might be slightly below the edge of the top of the exterior, as long as I can have it catch on this part of the lining. So what I do is, I take my black marker and I mark a center dot on the male portion of the tab, and then I kind of put it where I want it, make sure that I've lined up those centers, and I push down. I push down on that spot. So what it's done is, that mark that I've made on the male portion of the tab has now made a mark on this side of the slip pocket that I've created. That's a hack. So what I'm going to do is, I've already cut my pieces of duct tape. I'm going to just take my seam ripper, just poke a hole to kind of landmark and line up. Just poke a hole right in the center of that black dot to the other side, so that I can see it here. And then I have a mark to line up my duct tape. So then I know that when the magnetic snap is lined up, it's and secure in there, the duct tape is just going to help fix it on better. So then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take the washer of the female side, and I already did this when I made this part, and I'm just going to line the whole of the center of that washer up with that black mark. Center that mark in the center of the hole. Kind of make sure that your slit marks, those side rectangles, those are where you mark your slit marks, are straight up and down. And then I just kind of, in the center of those rectangle marks, I just mark where, with my pen, where I'm going to make the slit marks, just like how we did with the bag tag. And then with the lining out of the way, because you don't want to poke anything through the lining, then I'm just going to take my seam ripper where I have my marks. Might be hard to see, but there's my marks there. And then I'm just going to make my slits without catching that lining. Make my quick little slits. And I'm going to take the female portion of this magnetic snap set, pop it through on the right, from the right side to the underside of the exterior, put the washer on top, and then I push the prongs on the magnetic snaps. I push them outward, and they don't meet all the way, so I just kind of take them and just kind of push them against my desk to flatten them a little bit better. And then I take another piece of my duct tape, Gorilla Tape, put it over top of where those prongs are to protect, that's not quite lined up, to protect this lining fabric from rubbing against that metal and creating holes. Yeah. Got stuff there. I may not have made this big enough. All right, and there you have it. So now we have the slip pocket, and if the slip pocket will clip it back on, just line that up at the bottom. And now the rough, because we haven't sewn around this yet and I haven't cut around it to make a tab. So you take the male snap it on with the female, and there you have it, a rough tab. Now I'm going to stitch around the tab and make something look nice, pretty, and do like a, and then I'm going to do stitching around, and then I'm going to trim it, and then we'll have a really nice tab, and then I'm going to secure the top of the tab onto the top edge of my exterior, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the pattern. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so the point that we are at right now is this is your front exterior with your zipper pocket. I have attached onto it one of the linings so that the inside of the front panel lining and then this lining are faced together, are right sides together. So what happens is when you open up your zipper, I'm not opening it up all the way, it could go flying off there, that when you open it up, you see the lining at the front and the lining at the back, or at the back of the zipper pocket on the front panel. Then you're going to take the interior slip pocket that you made, and you're going to put that right side up, and you're going to put the wrong side together with the wrong side of this zipper pocket lining, so that they're all, you're going to have one big sandwich. Because when this is the front of your bag, when you open up the zipper gusset, which we will put on later, then when you open it up, then you're going to have the slip pocket right in front of you to get access to, if your phone fits in this little pocket, and your lip balm. So I'm going to pin all of those together, these 4 layers together. So we have, well, okay, so we have the exterior panel that we attached to the lining. And then we have the rest of the interior zipper pocket lining faced right sides together with that inside lining. And then we have the inside of the main pocket lining with your slip pocket all together. So I'm going to clip all of those together. And then you have your exterior back, which we made that cool little tab, magnetic snap tab on the slip pocket that is a hack as well. This is a hack, this is a hack. And then wrong sides together, you're going to take your last lining and put the 2 wrong sides together, so that when your bag is together, you have your back and your front. Then your 2 interiors, you're going to see the 2 interiors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip them all together. Now, this is not what she does in the pattern, because she's going to be doing, in the actual pattern that she does and in her tutorial, she does a really, really great binding system, because the inside seams are all going to be bound. I didn't have enough of this interior lining of this fabric from Country Cow Designs. I didn't have enough left to make my 1.5" binding strips, so that when you do the binding on the inside, everything, all the material looks the same. Because what I'm going to use is this beige color grosgrain ribbon, which is what I typically would use if I, for lining, and it's only 1 inch wide. So I'm going to be doing my binding different than what she does in her pattern, but the way she does it in her pattern, I wish I had the right width of this grosgrain to use as my binding, because she takes everything together instead of stitching it around and stitching it around in pieces. She does everything together in one stitch around, including the binding. And it's brilliant. So anyhow, I'm going to just stitch 1/8 of it. I'm going to clip all of this together. I'm going to stitch 1/8 of an inch all around the outer edge just to baste all these pieces together, and then I'll be back. Okay, So I have now basted this is the front panel. We have the exterior front panel and the zipper pocket on the front. And we can see that we have lining on both sides of the interior of the zipper pocket. And then on the interior side of the main compartment of the bag, we have that slip pocket that we made with the little lip balm little pocket or lipstick pocket. Plus I have my Made in Canada label already sewn. When we sewed everything together, just to baste everything together, the label got caught in that stitching as well. And then we did the same for the back. We had the, the interior lining of the main bag pocket, plus on the outside we have that snap tab, the magnetic snap to close off our slip pocket hack on the back. And if you have any excess material all around the edges, then you just trim that off to kind of even it off. Now what we're going to do on the back panel, we are going to, I want to make sure I get the right ones on, because I want on your little wings, we're now doing the wings. You can choose, with me I have certain flowers showing on one side and on the other. I want the green ones to kind of show, because then that'll help showcase the strap, which is all green. So what you do is you take your center marking that you made, your little notch off on your wing. You line up the straight edge of your wing to the straight edge of your back panel, and they're going to be facing in, so that when the bag is open, you're going to see this part at the front of the bag where the strap gets connected onto here. So you line up your notch from the side of your bag with the notch on your wing of your of the wing. Can't talk. And just clip them together. And then the same way I have this green showing that I want to show when it's folded out. When the strap is attached, you'll see more of that green. It's more of a turquoisey green, so that, say this is the front of the bag, then when the wings come out, you'll see that green. And I'm just going to baste those on the sides, and then I'll be back. Okay, the video stopped when I paused it, and I'm starting it back again. All right, so now we're working on the zipper gusset. You have your zipper tape, you have your two lining pieces, and you have your two exterior pieces. So we're going to start with one exterior piece. I've already put double-sided tape on them, and we're going to create a zipper sandwich, the technical term. So I take the double-sided tape backing off the exterior. I'm going to take the zipper tape, and I've already marked my centers on all my pieces, and I'm going to put the zipper tape face down or teeth down against the right side of the exterior. And I'm just going to line up the top edges. My zipper tape will extend a little bit out because I do cut it a little longer than is required, just to be on the safe side. All right, and then I'm going to take my double-sided tape again. You can see it better this way. Like I said, this camera angle, this is all new, the camera angle for me. And I'm just going to run the double-sided tape on the wrong side of the zipper. I find it just sticks better. Pull the backing off, and then I'm going to take one of my linings and make sure that the bird is going up, and hopefully it winds up being that way when I finish sewing everything. I think so. All right, I'm going to match my centers, and then I'm going, so the right side of the lining is face down on top of the right side of the exterior. So right sides together with the zipper in between, hence the zipper sandwich. Line up the edges. And then I'm going to sew at the specified seam allowance that she says in the pattern for the zippers, but I follow right along this edge of the zipper teeth, and it's not sticking because this cotton just doesn't like to stick. For some, I'm going to have to clip it, even though I have this the double-sided tape, it just doesn't like to stick. Some fabrics do. I guess it just all depends. I mean, it's not super expensive double-sided tape that I buy, like I get it at Dollar Tree, but it works. All right, and then I'm just going to sew these two together, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do, and then I'm going to top stitch it, and then we'll do the other one as well. All right, so okay, I'm just going to finger press this lining forward. Since it's cotton canvas, it finger presses quite nice. And it frays quite nicely too. It really frays. Okay. And then I'll fold the exterior over as well, because we're going to top stitch along this line here. But make sure that you clip, just like we did with the other zipper. I like to clip this corner here with the where the zipper and the lining and the exterior meet, just to keep it in place and to secure it. And pull it so that everything lines up and you don't have any puckering at the front or the back. And then line up your exterior and your interior lining. Oops. Just want you to see how this is done, because we're going to do the exact same thing on this side of the zipper, and I'll do that off camera, but I want you to see how this is done. All right, so that has all been clipped together, and I'm just to make sure that the lining is pulled away from the zipper. And as I'm sewing it and top stitching it, I will be making sure that it's all pulled out of the way, just to be on the safe side. So we're just going to top stitch that now at 1/8 of an inch in a seam allowance. Making sure that this is all pulled away. I just usually pull everything together and top stitch. Like I said, I'm not a fast sewer, because I'd rather make sure that everything works out. And sometimes it just doesn't. And then you just regroup and figure it out again. Oh, clips don't want to get into my little tub here. Okay, so there I have it top stitched along the front, and then it's nicely top stitched underneath as well with no puckers. So I'm now going to take the other exterior that I've already put double-sided tape on. And then I'm going to take this part of the zipper and the other part of the gusset, and then I'm going to line it up, the centers, with the center of this exterior. And when I've put the top edge of the exterior panel and the zipper tape, and I match the edges, I also will make sure that at the end of it all, the edges of all of my fabric will also meet. And then I'm just going to finish putting the lining. I will put double-sided tape along here, do the lining and sew it and top stitch, and then I'll be back. All right, so here we have now the zipper gusset all completed. I have already added my zipper pull because I have forgotten to do that in the past. Sewn up the whole gusset and I forgot to put the zipper pull on. And I'm only using one zipper pull. I find that when there's bags that call for 2 zipper pulls, you know, you have them in the center so you can have one go down one side and one the other. A lot of people don't, they just have the one zipper that never gets used, the zipper pull, and they move it to the one end and then just use the one zipper. I do that too. I just prefer it. So right now we have the top and bottom zipper gusset now attached to the zipper tape with the zipper pull on, and your lining on the other side. And sometimes life gives you lemons and you make lemonade or orange juice or whatever it is you want to make it with. And I didn't cut out, because we all make mistakes, right? And I didn't cut out the bottom gusset panel that the zipper gusset gets attached to. So I had to quickly cut out the bottom gusset that will be attached to the zipper gusset. And I only have like a small little scrap of this beautiful bluebird cotton canvas from Country Cow Designs. Didn't have enough, and I didn't have enough to make the lining of the bottom gusset for this panel. So, like I said, you make lemons or make orange juice or lemonade or whatever. This is cotton canvas from Country Cow Designs as well. I got it at the same time that I got this bluebird fabric as well. So it does have birds on it, it does have oranges, and it does have flowers. So that's going to be the bottom interior lining of our gusset. It is what it is. So I'm just going to mark my centers. Actually, no, I don't have to. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some double-sided tape. Oops, and it's stuck to my zipper seam ripper. And I'm going to put double-sided tape on both ends on the right side. And it's the 1/8 inch. I also trimmed up, if you remember, my zipper tape extended over the edges. I also trimmed up my edges to make them all even. So I have my double-sided tape. I'm going to pull the backing off on one end, and then I'm going to line that side up, and then I'm just going to line up my raw edges together on this one side. And then I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to put the double-sided tape on the lining side. And it probably, oh, it did stick. And then I'm going to take my mismatched lining piece, and I'm going to line up the raw edges. And then I'm going to sew this edge up at the seam allowance specified in the pattern. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the outside gusset and I'm going to line it up with this edge that we haven't sewn, I'm going to line it up with this edge. I've already put double-sided tape on there. And I'm going to line that up. And then on the lining side, I'll put double-sided tape on the lining side. And then I'm going to match. So what's going to happen is you're going to have some buckling here. That's okay, that's normal. And I'm going to line up the raw edges, and then I'm just going to sew that seam down, making sure that this doesn't pull the seam apart, and I'm just going to flatten it there a little bit. I can feel the heat. The sun's starting to swing around to this side of the house, and the heat's starting to come in. Okay, now what we're going to do is then we're going to take, we're just going to flip it outside right. I guess that's what you want, if that's what you call it. Just turn everything. So now what you have is a large circle. Okay, and this will fit around the edges of the bag. So I just wanted you to see it that way, and then of course there's your underside. I'm going to turn it inside out so that the interior is on the inside. And then what I'm going to do, now this is different than what she has in the pattern because my binding is not going to be the, I'm going to be using a 1-inch grosgrain ribbon compared to what she's using as the 1.5 inch of the matching lining. But what I'm going to do is you're going to wind up making sewing a whole loop on both sides. So I'm going to start by top stitching along here. I'm going to go all the way around the interior, and then I'm going to come out and top stitch this and then go around the other part of the circle, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we have a continuous gusset. You've got your zipper gusset at the top, and you have your bottom gusset at the bottom, and this will fit all around each front and back of the bag, and then sew it together and use the seam binding. Now, if you have your edges that are slightly not meeting, you can just take your scissors and just kind of angle it off so that it's a little neater looking. So what I did was I top stitched across, and I just basted all the way around both sides and top stitched this as well. So these edges just aren't quite meeting, and it's just a quick little nip to just kind of even that off. All right, and now we will see what the next step is. I believe I'm just going to make sure I have all my centers marked. So you take your seam here, where you've joined the zipper and the bottom gusset, as well, and match up those seams. Make sure that you've got your centers marked at the top and bottom of your zipper panel gusset, and also line them up, make sure that they stay lined up so that you can make sure that your top and bottom of the bottom gusset are marked with your centers. And then you line your top and bottom centers up like that. Follow along the top and then mark your side centers for where the side of the bag will get attached. And just, if you have to realign, then realign and then snip. Okay, so I have my top and bottom marks and my side marks for the zipper gusset and bottom. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so we are going to work putting the zipper panel and gusset onto our front and back pieces. We're going to work with the front first. That's the one with the zipper pocket at the front, and then the slip pocket on the interior side. This is the, we want to make sure that because the zipper is being pulled to the left when it's closed, we want to make sure that when the zipper gusset is right side up, that the zipper is closing to the left and opening to the right. So we want to make sure that they're lined up. So I'm going to take this, we're going to turn it inside out. I got my finger on the notch that I'm going to line up with my front panel, and I'm just going to clip the two matching notches, and then I'm just going to fold back just to make sure I got the right one. Okay, so if you were to have this hole all sewn all around and you turn it inside right, then your zipper pull is going in the same direction as your zipper pull on your zipper pocket at the front. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to clip and hope that my measurements worked out, that the zipper panel gusset fits all around the actual exterior panels of this bag. That's the moment of truth. So I'm just going to clip everything together on the front panel and the zipper gusset, and I'll be back. Okay, so I have lined up the top edge of the zipper gusset with the top edge of the front panel, and the bottom edge of the zipper gusset with the bottom edge of the front panel. And I have matched my centers, top and bottom, and then you match your side notches, which on both your front exterior and your zipper gusset, and you match those side notches. And then if your corners are, if you're facing your gusset, zipper gusset is a little tighter than what your edges are, then that's where you're going to want to make little snips on the gusset side so that you splay them open and they will fit around these curves the way they are supposed to. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to make quick little snips on these corners. On the gusset, you only cut the snips in the gusset, and then you will splay that open and clip, and I'll do all four corners. And I'm doing that within the 1/8 inch basting that I, seam allowance that I did. If I happen to cut that stitching, it's not a big deal because it's not your actual stitching to close everything up and make sure everything's sewn. It was just the basting stitching to hold all of the lining and the exteriors all together so they don't flop around. All right, so then you've got these little notches that you've cut into your facing, and I kind of just pull them and splay them open a bit. Now you can take it and lay it flat you know, kind of fit it around your corners, your exterior corners, and then clip as you go. And it fits pretty good, so my measuring was okay. Because this was a piece that didn't have a pattern. The bottom gusset panel did not have a pattern piece, which is why I missed cutting it and why I didn't have enough fabric for the bottom lining of it, because I thought, oh yay, I just had enough of that fabric, and I didn't, but it didn't have a pattern piece, and I didn't read the pattern all the way. So I'm just going to take this gusset and I'm just fitting it around, and it goes around so easily on to the exterior piece. And I'm not following the pattern, I'm not following her tutorial at this point in time, because I'm not doing the binding as she has it in her pattern. And it was great. It was brilliant. If I had taken the time, maybe I could have cut this out, because I still have this fabric, and I could have cut the 1.5 inches to do the binding, but I'll just do the 1 inch grosgrain like I was planning. So now, oh, I didn't clip this corner. So now I'm going to sew around the, I'm just going to sew around these edges, and I'll be back. Okay, so I have sewn around the edges and sewn the zipper gusset onto the front panel. And just what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clean up some of these edges to make sure that they're all even, so that when I put the binding on, there aren't any, some edges higher than the other or thicker than the other. Kind of around the curves, you might find you might have a little excess exterior sticking up there. But other than that, it turned out pretty good, considering sometimes my math isn't the greatest, clearly, because I forgot all about the bottom gusset for this panel. All right. Now, and I also forgot to mention, it makes it easier sewing your gussets onto your main panels when the zipper is open in some instances. Now, when you're doing this pattern at the normal size that the pattern is written, this one, as you know, is at 115% enlarged. It's a little tight, and but this one worked out really, really well. So what I'm going to do is, I'll do my fancy math here, find the end of my, this was all rolled up. So I'm just going to zip the zipper up just to keep it secure. And all I'm going to do is just quickly grab my grosgrain ribbon, start kind of at the top center, go around. This is my fancy measuring. I do it loosely because if I have anything extra afterwards, that's okay. I can just cut it off. And then I just go kind of overshoot that center marking. And I'm just going to make 2 of these because I need the exact same amount for the other side as well. And this is beige. It'll blend in okay. It won't look that bad. I'll just cut that off. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is first I can see, here's my lighter, I can see some of these extra little threads that are sticking up. I'm just going to take the lighter to them just to clean them up so that they don't get caught or they don't stick out. Check the side. I mean, this fabric, this lining frays enough as it is, this cotton canvas, so I may have some frayed strands sticking up into the main body that I'll have to trim off and clean up. Okay, so take that one piece. How I do the binding for grosgrain ribbon. I'm going to start at the top where the zipper is, so that when you look down into the bag, you won't see where this starts and stops. And I'm just going to fold over the top edge just to hold in that, that raw edge. And I'm going to clip it. Against the raw edge of the, against the edge of the bag. And then I can clip all around if I want, or I can sew it loose. Usually what I do is sew it loose, but I'll clip it because then we'll sew it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go off camera and I'm going to clip it, because I also want to change my thread color to beige so that you don't see that coral color thread on the beige color grosgrain binding. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so I have sewn the grosgrain ribbon. I changed my thread out to beige. I'm just plain old heavy-duty Gutermann beige. So what I have done is I've sewn the grosgrain ribbon all the way around as my binding. I'm going to fold it over because both of the edges of the grosgrain ribbon are finished. So there's no turning one edge. I just like to sew the one edge onto my edges here and then fold it over and then clip it and then stitch it closed over top. So I'm going to do that off camera. I'm just going to go all the way around, and I'm just going to fold this over and clip it. Actually, I could have sewn this on a little thicker, and just clip it all around, and then I'm going to sew it all around, and then that edge will be finished, and then I'll do it for the back lining as well, and then I'll see you when I'm done all that. Okay, I have got the front panel and the back panel all sewn on around the zipper gusset, and it has been bound with the beige color grosgrain ribbon. I always say as a disclosure, my binding is not the best, but I am getting better and I do try my best. So, because we're all not perfect, look at the mistakes I've made throughout this tutorial. Now's the moment of truth. We are now going to turn this bag. And see how it looks. Make sure all of your seams are pushed out really, really well, especially around the corner so that there aren't any puckers. And this vinyl from Sam Fabric Creations is really, really pliable. You know, if you have to roll your seams so that it gives it it has that, the lining, the seam binding on the bound edges on the inside will fall even better. So just kind of roll them, and that helps to set the edges. Oh, it's looking really, really well. I love how that coral color zipper tape really, really looks amazing with this vinyl. And we just poke out the corners, and then we have one step left to do, and then our bag is done. All right, push out the corners. So here we have it at this point, all done up. We have both the zipper pulls on the same side. That worked out well. So here it is with the zipper gusset all on, and with your interior zip pocket. the exterior hack that I did with the magnetic snap tab for the slip pocket. And then the inside we have, and then we'll go over this more after. Yes, there is the mismatched bottom. Oh well. And when you open up the bag from your side, like when it's up against your body, you have that slip pocket where, and the little, it's on this side, the little lip balm holder as well. And then I have my Made in Canada label. So this looks really, really good. It's a good size bag. It is much bigger than the original pattern when you print it out at 100%, because I just know that my phone, my Samsung S23 Ultra phone, which is the largest size Samsung phone, would not have fit very well inside this bag. And now, and those are the wings, and see, I made it so that I wanted to make sure that that green flower stood out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our strap connectors on. Now I was trying to keep the hardware all the same color. I was using the gold hardware that I got from Sam Fabric Creations just to match the zipper pulls and that. And I don't have gold rivets, but the antique brass will work. So what we're going to do is, I don't have D-ring connectors, but I do have rectangle rings. And what we're going to do is we're going to take, I'm going to use that as the front. They fit on, the D-ring connectors fit on the wing. Move some of this stuff out of the way. Fit on the wing along that flat edge right there. And it fits in there perfectly so that there's no way that this can move. And what I am going to do is make sure that these edges, this edge here and this edge here, are in line. And I'm going to just clip it just to make sure it doesn't move. And then I'm going to grab my pen, and I have already cut the rivet holes. We already cut the rivet holes before. And I'm just going to take my pen on the underside and just mark those where those rivet holes would be. Hopefully it went through the hole. Yep. So there's the hole marking for me to add that tab. And it made it right in between the stitching, the 1/4" stitching, and then there's the other one. And then I'm going to put mark the other one. Then we are going to attach the rivets. So I'm going to make sure that this part, because I don't want the green on the green, we kind of want a little contrast. I'm going to put that right up against this side. Make sure the edges are lined up. And then I'm going to take my pen and mark through those rivet holes we've already done. And they lined up perfectly. And I'm going to take my little Japanese hole punch. Hopefully you can see it. And I'm just going to make those holes. Okay, and now we are going to line up these holes. I'm going to take my rivets and pop them through the holes on the strap connector first. I just take the post and pop it through there. And then pop it through the holes that we just made on the wing. Pop them both through. Pop the other cap onto the top there. And then on this side, I'll pop the rivet post through the front part of this strap connector. We're almost done. I guess I could have made my hole a little bigger, my rivet hole, but that's okay. There we go. Okay. And we'll pop it through this side. There we go. Doesn't matter if it's a little snug. When I put my either my D-ring connector or this is the rectangle ring, make sure that the seam where the two edges meet are on the underside so it gets covered by your strap connector, because you don't want that on the top. Okay, pop these. Yeah, I could have made bigger holes. Pop that through. Come on, get through. Pop that through. Put the cap on and put the cap on. And I'm just going to take it to the rivet press and I'll be right back. Okay, we have the strap connectors on here, and now we are going to attach our strap. So these are the, this is the hardware I did get from Sam Fabric Creations. Even though these aren't D-rings, when it's on, the strap connector will pull up into that, that corner, and it'll look great. So we're, whoops, everything's falling. Make sure that that's straight. There it is. There is the Rayna Sling at 115%. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at how beautiful that vinyl is from Sam Fabric Creation. Of course, there's nothing in here, so it's pretty squishy, but the strap connector, it does slide quite easily, so you can put it over as a sling. I'm covered in thread. Wear it as a sling, or it can even go down lower if you want. Get that down there so that you can wear it lower if you want, or if you decide that you want to put it on as a hip bag, you can do that as well and fix, you know, adjust the strap also. Just let me take that off. So this is a beautiful bag. I actually quite like the size of it because it's a really nice crossbody size. So that little hack that we did at the back with the little strap connector. So this is my phone, my Samsung, and it will fit in here quite nicely without it popping up. And then this magnetic snap tab will hold it into place. And if, oh, Frankie came back. And if I had other things in there, it would be it'll be a lot firmer. So look at how gorgeous this is with those tab connectors. I didn't, of course, do the strap the way she has it in the pattern, but it does work out beautifully with all my thread. Straighten that out, and there you go. So thank you so much for spending this time with me while we made the Rayna Sling at 115%. I printed the pattern out, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks a lot for sewing along.